Welcome everyone. In this video, we will be discussing about ancient civilizations. The prominent civilizations were Egypt, Mesopotamia, China, Greek, Roman and Harappa. But in this video, we will be discussing only two civilizations. One is Egyptian civilization and Mesopotamia civilization. So let's start it. Food, water, air, and light are inevitable for any life to survive. Similarly, shelter and clothing also are the basic necessities for mankind. Generally, we can get water and favorable weather condition on the banks of the rivers for leading life. So, the prehistoric people settled on the banks of rivers and later civilizations prospered there. Hence, the river banks became the cradles of ancient civilizations. Egyptian civilization on the banks of Nile, Mesopotamian civilization on the banks of Euphrates and Tigris, Chinese civilization on the banks of Huanghe River, Harappan civilization on the banks of Indus came into existence. It is important to note that Roman civilization and Greek civilization prospered near Mediterranean Sea. But as I said earlier that main topic of discussion in this video would be Egyptian and Mesopotamian civilization. Egyptian civilization. Egypt is the first civilization of the ancient world. This civilization took birth on the banks of the river Nile. Nile is regarded as the longest river in the world. Nile is the north flowing river which joins the Mediterranean Sea. If the Nile hadn't flown through Egypt, it would have been a desert. Thus, Egypt is considered as the gift of Nile. Let us discuss the political history of Egyptian civilization. Egypt witnessed the rise of political dynasties about 5400 years ago. The kings of Egypt were called pharaohs. Menes was the first pharaoh. His capital was Memphis. Among all the pharaohs after Menes, Khufu, Amenhotep, and Thomas were prominent. Egypt is also famous for pyramids. The largest pyramid of Giza is called the Great Pyramid of Khufu, which was built by Khufu. Thutmose I was the greatest conqueror among all the pharaohs. His daughter Hatshepsut came to power after him and came to be known as the Empress of the world. Finally, about 2300 years ago, Alexander the Great conquered Egypt. He appointed Ptolemy as his representative. Later, Ptolemy declared himself as the king of Egypt and established Ptolemaic dynasty. Popular queen Cleopatra was the last ruler of this dynasty. Eventually, Egypt became a province of Rome. Let us move on to the contributions of Egyptian civilizations. Wheat and barley were the food crops. The water of Nile was used for agriculture through canals. The condition of slaves were very pathetic. Women were given importance. The people of Egypt believed in life after death, so they preserved the dead bodies as mummy. In ancient Egypt, each city had its own guardian goddess. Sun and rivers were worshipped as god. The Egyptian script is called hieroglyphics, which means sacred writing. They used ink to write on papyrus grass growing in the river Nile. They had enormous knowledge of geometry, which was used in building huge pyramids. The largest statue of Sphinx is the most attractive Egyptian architecture. It is an animal with the body of a lion and head of a man. The Mesopotamian civilization. This civilization flourished in the area that lies in a valley between the Tigris and Euphrates River in modern Iraq. In Greek, Mesopotamia means the land between the rivers. This region was ruled by Sumerians, Babylonians, Hittites, Assyrians, and Neo Babylonians. Let us know their political history. Sumerians were responsible for one of the first civilizations in this region. Ur, Kish, Lagash were the important cities states that flourished here. Sumerians used cuneiform system of writing on the wet clay slates. Mesopotamians were in contact with Indians. The Akkadians ruled after Sumerians. They were conquered and destroyed by the barbarians. Later, Amorites, another Semitic tribe, ruled from Babylonia. They brought the Akkadians under their control and established a large state. Among them, Hammurabi was the most famous king among Babylonians. He was famous for his code of laws. His code of laws was based on the ideas like an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Babylonian rule was followed by Kassite and Hittite races. Next comes Ashurbanipal. He was a brave warrior and a poet. Ashurbanipal was the last great king of Assyrians. Assyrians defeated Hittites and ruled Mesopotamia. He founded a royal library at Nineveh. After Assyrians, another Semitic tribe, the Chaldeans, re-established Babylonia. Nebuchadnezzar was the greatest among them. He created Hanging Gardens, which was one of the seven wonders of the world once. Finally, about 2500 years ago, Emperor Cyrus conquered the Babylonia, which resulted in the downfall of Mesopotamia. Now let us move on to the contribution of the Mesopotamian civilization. Mesopotamians were the first to adopt the code of laws in the world. They had trade relationship with Harappan and Egyptians. Each city had a guardian deity, as in Egypt. High raised temples named ziggurats were built. Cuneiform script was used by these people. Gilgamesh is a great epic poem of Mesopotamians. This finishes our video on Egyptian and Mesopotamian civilization. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.